Says I'm going live. All right, now I am live. Everything looks to be in order. The dogs seem to be settled down in the back. That's good. Let's just check one more thing. All right. I think we are good to go. It says excellent connection. Let me just wait a couple of minutes because I can't see anything going. So let me know in the chat, please, whether you can see me and hear me. All is well. Thank you. That's awesome. Perfect. All right. And when you say all is well, I'm assuming that means you can see me. Okay, cool. Lake said so. Asan has said so. All right. This is all good. This is all good. So, yeah, as per usual, had a few technical difficulties, but it's all good now. But yeah, the each week that goes by, I get less and less anxious about this, and I just expect things to happen. And expectations actually has been one of my kind of insights this week. The less expectations we have, the less suffering there is. So that's my little nugget of wisdom that I had this week, and I realized. And yeah, the more expectations I let go of people and things, the less I suffer. So yeah, maybe someone needed to hear that today. Who knows? But I needed to hear that today. But yeah, hey, Kate, happy Monday. If you're in Australia, I'm assuming you are. And happy Sunday to everyone else. And hello, Taylor. Good to have you on with us. Let me know in the chat, actually, where is everyone hailing in from today? I'm always interested to know, especially for those folks in Europe. So if anyone there is from Europe, I know it's very late, so a very special welcome to you. So yeah, let me know. And as you know, there's a delay in this chat, so I might not get to see it in time. Ah, Norway. Well, there you go. Well, welcome. So it's definitely nighttime where you are. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you, and at least you're coming into summer now. We're coming into winter down here, so that's your advantage. And hey, Taylor from WA, good to see you. So it's a bit earlier in the day, I think, in WA behind or in front? Not sure, not sure. Got Oregon. Hey, Shamel. Kate from the land of Oz. Mary in England. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, Mary. I appreciate you. Another late night for Mary. And yeah, where am I from? Originally from the UK. So originally a London boy, and I've been in Sydney for 20 years. So if I've got a strange nondescript accent, then that's because, yeah, it's the London blending in with a little bit of Australia. And I spend a lot of time in America as well. So, yeah, wow. Okay, Portugal. Hey, Susanna. Hey, Irene from the UK. So there's a few of you from the UK. So, yeah, and Europe. So thank you so much for making the effort. I really appreciate you. So I was actually thinking of, I was like, now that with the time change, I've lost the Europeans because it's going to be too late for them. I might as well put my time, because I'm doing this at 8 a.m. I might as well start doing it at 9 or 10. But if I know that you Europeans are tuning in, I will keep getting up early, and I will make sure I keep doing it at 8 a.m. so it's not too bad for you. It's pretty rough, the time difference, but I guess quite a few of you can make it. So yeah, really appreciate that. Northern Ireland, wow. UK also. Oh wow, all right. So yeah, so this is the UK. This is the UK podcast. UK and Europe. Wow. All right. So maybe I'm gonna have to rethink my times, or no, I'm not gonna start rethinking anything, because we're here. We're talking about, ironically, procrastination, and I'm now procrastinating. So let's get to it. All right. And yeah, Taylor's an Aussie with UK ancestry. So that's good. That's good. All right. So, lovely to see so many people from so many corners of the world. And, as always, if you don't have a drink, get a drink, get comfy, because today, wherever you are, whatever time of the day it is for you, we're going to dig into a topic that, if you're anything like me, you probably know very well, and that's procrastination. So, with me, it's not going to be one of those just manage your time better lectures. We're going to come at it from a totally different angle, one that makes sense if you're a high achiever, or if you're a perfectionist, or if you're just someone who gets stuck even when you really care about something or find that thing really interesting. So I'm going to be sharing a little story about myself too, because as you all know, this is my weekly confessional therapy session, and I'm definitely not immune to procrastination either, but mine has just got a little bit more sophisticated over time. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But yeah, let's jump in. Cool. That's cool, Brenda. Yes, and you will have my support now on this topic, Taylor. All right. So let's hark back to Easter Monday, right? So my plan on Easter Monday was simple. I had the day off, and for weeks now, I've been meaning to set up a shopping cart on my website so that I could finally start selling my guided meditations. Because I've got a lot of you asking, I really love this meditation or that meditation. I just want that meditation. I want to buy that meditation off you. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll get round to it soon. Now, I knew it wasn't going to be a quick job. It was going to be fiddly. It was going to be kind of one of those tasks where, I've got all the YouTube video tutorials and, it was definitely doable. But it was also one of those things where it's a new system, right? So it's a bit of a headache, and you know that you're going to have to push through that awkward, I don't know what I'm doing feeling. So I sat down and I was ready to do it. And then I thought, maybe I need to quickly check that the landing page on the website looks good first. Right? Then I thought, what would be really cool is if there was a chatbot on there. So something that could help the customer out, or even better, one that sounds like me, and one that you could even have a chat to about your problems or get advice on stress and burnout. I was like, yeah, how cool would that be? Right. So fast forward to the end of the day, no shopping cart, no landing page, but I'd somehow managed to build myself a flawless AI chatbot that speaks exactly like me. All right. So if you want to test out my chatbot, you can. So you can head over to my website, chibs.co or chibsmeditations.com, and you can talk to Digital Chibs. He's not going to speak to you, but he will write to you. So you can go and talk to Digital Chibs and see if you can break his spirit. And, I'd actually be interested to know, is it actually helpful too? I'd love to hear. But the point of this story is that's the sneaky thing about procrastination. It doesn't always look like avoidance. It doesn't always look like laziness. Sometimes it looks exactly like productivity. And other times it looks like full blown paralysis, right? So where even opening a document feels stressful and unmanageable. But either way, it costs you time, energy, momentum, and sometimes your sanity. And that's what we're going to be exploring today. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Chibs Okereke. I'm a stress and a burnout coach, a mindfulness facilitator, and one of the meditation instructors and narrators on the Calm app. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been hanging out with me for a while, welcome back. It's always good to have everyone here with me. All right. Yes, it is sneaky, cloaking itself in productivity, sneaky procrastination. As I say, mine's got very sophisticated over the years, but I've got some good techniques to catch it. Now, if you've ever found yourself deep cleaning your kitchen or designing an elaborate new system for organizing your inbox instead of doing the one thing that you actually needed to do, you're not alone. And if you've ever started something important only to find yourself drifting away halfway through, suddenly updating your LinkedIn profile or researching new productivity apps to help you focus, or creating a wonderful new chatbot on your website, that's procrastination too. Now, it's not that you don't care. It's not that you're lazy. And it's definitely not because you're broken, right? It's because our nervous systems are wired for protection, not perfection. So, in today's session, first we're going to unpack why procrastination shows up, then how it sneaks in even after we've started, and finally, the tools to move through it without burnout. And as always, we'll be using my 5-step framework. So learn it, catch it, sit with it, respond, reflect. And then by the end of this session, you'll have a bunch of practical, science-backed tools that you can start using immediately, whether you're stuck at the starting line or halfway through and starting to drift. All right, so let's jump into step 1, learn it. I'm going to keep hydrating through the session. Okay. So let's dig into what's actually happening when we procrastinate. Okay. What's going on in the body? What's going on in the mind? Because, first of all, I want you to know procrastination is not laziness. Again, if you're anything like me, and I'm guessing you are, if you're watching today, you're probably not lying around all day doing nothing. You're probably busy. You're probably productive. You're probably doing 100 different things, just not the one thing that actually matters most. And here's the thing that a lot of people miss. Procrastination isn't a time management issue. It's a nervous system response. So it's not about laziness or poor willpower or lack of discipline, right? It's a survival strategy, one that your brain learned somewhere along the line in your life to keep you safe. So think of procrastination as the flight branch of fight, flight, freeze. Okay. So your brain's not slacking off, it's running away from a perceived threat. And the threat that it's running away from is usually shame or judgment or overwhelm. Now, maybe you grew up in a high pressure environment where success was praised and mistakes were criticized. So maybe early on in your life, you learned that starting or finishing important things didn't always feel safe, because if you tried and it wasn't good enough, what happened? So maybe you got judged, maybe you were criticized, or maybe you felt exposed or ashamed or not good enough. So instead of diving into a task, your nervous system does exactly what it's designed to do. It tries to protect you. So it distracts you, it delays you, it keeps you circling around the task without actually having to face the fear of messing it up. And what's even sneakier is it's not just the starting that is the problem, right? So sometimes we actually do get started, right? We take the first few steps, we open the file, we set up the page, but the minute it starts to feel hard, the minute that emotional risk starts to show up, your nervous system starts looking for a way out. And that's when you find yourself tweaking your document fonts or reorganizing your Dropbox folder or building a flawless chatbot instead of creating the thing that you actually sat down to do. So procrastination isn't just about avoiding starting the task, it's also about avoiding discomfort once you've already started. So it's really tricky, but it's really important to understand, because once you understand it, then you're going to be able to do something about it. Now, Tim Fletcher, who I always talk about, my teacher, he talks about this a lot. He talks about how the brain, when it senses risk or senses overwhelm or senses danger, it automatically shifts into a survival state. And in that survival state, the brain prioritizes immediate comfort, so immediate short-term comfort over long-term goals. Not because we're weak, not because we're weak, not because we're lazy, but because we're wired to survive. Now, the good news is once we understand that procrastination is a protection strategy, not a character flaw, then we can start working with ourselves instead of against ourselves. So we can start building tools that help us move through the fear instead of beating ourselves up or not being, thinking that we're not being disciplined enough. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. All right. So now that we know that procrastination is a protection strategy, not a personal flaw, how do we actually catch it in the moment? Because let's be real, procrastination is sneaky. It doesn't show up waving a big red flag saying, hey, you're procrastinating right now. It shows up, and certainly in my case, looking like I'm being productive. So you tell yourself that you're researching or organizing or preparing or getting yourself in the right headspace. You convince yourself, I just need to clean my desk before I start, or I can't possibly expect people to buy my guided meditations unless there's a perfectly functioning chatbot on my website that sounds exactly like me, which sounds absolutely ridiculous when I say it out loud. But in the middle of procrastinating, in the middle of that anxiety, you don't tend to make the best of decisions, right? And that will be the last time I mention my chatbot. Anyway, but go to chibs.co and have a play. Anyway, the first step to breaking the cycle is learning to spot the pattern while it's happening. So let me give you a few signs to watch out for. You might suddenly feel an intense urge to do something else, anything else, the moment that you sit down to work. Perhaps you get stuck in endless preparation mode, tweaking, researching, planning without actually moving forward. Maybe you find yourself doing lower priority tasks that keep you feeling busy but aren't actually important. You keep switching tasks over and over again without finishing anything. Or you feel overwhelmed before you even begin. So you start to chase a quick hit of productivity somewhere else. Now, Tim Fletcher outlines 6 procrastinator types, right? So listen out and see which one or which ones jump out at you. Because there might be more than one. And maybe let us know in the chat which one you are. So first, we've got the worrier. And that's the one who avoids starting because what if I fail is whispering at them in the back of their heads. Then we've got the dreamer, and that's the one who has a million different ideas and vision boards and files with great ideas, but never really gets started on anything. We've got the perfectionist, the one who waits for the perfect conditions to start. So nothing ever starts or is waiting for the thing to be flawless before they release it. So nothing ever gets finished or released. Then we've got the crisis maker. So that person who sets up that last minute chaos for the adrenaline rush because I do my best work under pressure. We've got the defier, and that's the one who rebels against the rules, even if it's their own rules, just to prove that they're in charge. And then we've got the overcommitter, and that's the person who can't say no. So they overload themselves and then they haven't got the capacity to finish anything. So if you recognize yourself in one of these, then yeah, please pop it in the chat. Let me know which one you are. And there's no shame here, right? I'm definitely a recovering, I've got a lot. So I'm a recovering perfectionist, crisis maker, dreamer, and overcommitter, right? So I totally get it. But I've now got tools so that most of the time I don't get caught in procrastination. All right. So now what I suggest is when you catch your procrastinator showing up, when you notice yourself about to switch tasks or go down a rabbit hole, pause for a second and then ask yourself this question. Am I moving forward towards what matters, or am I moving away from discomfort? Okay, so am I moving towards what matters, or am I moving away from discomfort? And after you've asked yourself that question, no judgment, no beating yourself up, just awareness, right? Because even noticing it is a win. Catching it in real time is powerful because it creates a tiny little window where you can then choose a different response. So you can go, I see what's happening. This isn't about being lazy. This is my brain trying to protect me from something. It's my brain trying to protect me from discomfort. And in that window, in that tiny pause, that's where you get your power back. So you shift from being unconsciously driven by your pattern to consciously working with it. And that's where the real change begins. Zenden's inner being wants to catch me on real play, on replay. That's good. That's good. You go to bed, Zenden. Oh, unless you meant you want to come back to it on the replay. Got it. I thought you might have been one of my European friends, and you were about to go to bed and watch the replay. Either way, enjoy the replay. All right. So you've caught it. You've asked yourself, am I moving forward towards what matters, or am I moving away from discomfort? You've noticed yourself slipping into productive procrastination or full blown avoidance mode. Now what? At this point, most of us have the instinct to fight it, or to push through, or to shame ourselves, or to tell ourselves to just get it done. But remember what we said. Procrastination is rooted in a nervous system response. So it's not just a mindset problem, it's a felt experience in the body. So that urge to go and clear your kitchen, that sudden need to tidy up your desk, that blank stare at the screen, feeling frozen and foggy, that's your body saying, something about this feels unsafe. Help me. So if we want to work with procrastination rather than against it, we need to meet that discomfort with curiosity and not force. So instead of immediately pushing yourself to override it, what if you could simply sit with it for a moment? Excuse me. Now, quick note, right? Not all procrastination is bad, right? Sometimes putting something off is actually wisdom, not avoidance. So if you're genuinely exhausted, or if you're pausing to carefully plan your next big step, that delay could be a healthy signal, could be your body's way of protecting your energy and setting you up for success. The trick is being honest with yourself. Is this a healthy pause, or is this my nervous system trying to escape discomfort? If it's healthy, please honor it. If it's fear based, please try and meet it with support and keep going along on the task gently. Now, it's very easy to skip this part. I get it. You're already wanting to procrastinate, and now I'm asking you to sit and pause. But this is how we rewire the nervous system to realize that this feeling, this uncomfortable feeling, is okay, that this discomfort isn't dangerous, and so it doesn't need to protect you from it. So we're retraining our nervous system. So here's what I suggest. Step one, notice the sensation. Where do you feel it? Chest, stomach, head, hands? Does it feel heavy? Does it feel light? Does it feel tingly, numb? Step two, name it. So you might say to yourself something like, I'm feeling stuck, or I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I'm feeling frozen. So just naming the experience helps to bring it into your conscious awareness. So instead of letting it drive you unconsciously, we're bringing it to the forefront. Step three, normalize it. So remind yourself, this is just my nervous system trying to protect me. It's uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous. You're not broken, you're not lazy, you're having a very normal, very human stress response. Okay? It's normal. Step four, stay with it briefly. Okay? We don't want to procrastinate on this stage as well. So just for a few breaths, just stay present with the feeling. Breathe into it. If it's in the chest, breathe into the chest. Let it be there without trying to fix it straight away. Because when you can sit with a little bit of discomfort without immediately reacting, then you start to build the emotional flexibility to keep moving forward without triggering a full shutdown or a full spiral. So it's like strength training for your nervous system. So tiny reps over time creates that real resilience. You know, honestly, even 20, 30 seconds of noticing, naming, and breathing with the discomfort, that can start to shift your relationship with it. So Rasta Girl is a warrior and a dreamer, and procrastination is the thief of time. Yeah, it really is. And yeah, ADD and ADHD is a big part of it. But I guess one thing to understand about ADD and ADHD is that also stems from our childhood experiences. I'm not going to go into it today because we want to kind of crack on with this one, but I think it's an interesting topic as well because yeah, I'm I'm ADD as well, and all these mindfulness tools have helped me to get back on track. But yeah, the ADD comes from, in a nutshell, comes from when we were kids. If we were in unsafe environments, then we had to get very good at noticing different things, moving tasks very quickly, distracting ourselves, disconnecting if things weren't quite right. So maybe we had some kind of experiences in childhood or early adulthood that kind of made us a bit ADD, but that's for another time. But yeah, I hear you. All right. So we've caught the procrastination in real time. We've sat with the discomfort for a few breaths. Now, what do we do? How do we actually fix this procrastination in real time? Because all this awareness and mindfulness is great, but tools and action is what starts to rewire the pattern. And we don't want to force ourselves forward with shame or pressure. We want to respond with tools that help the nervous system feel safe enough to take the next small step. Okay? So today I'm going to give you some quick fixes that you can use right now to break the loop and some longer term strategies to change the pattern at its roots. So let's start with the quick fixes, the simple, practical tools that you can use the next time that you feel stuck. So the first one, and maybe the easiest one to implement and the most effective one, I would say, is the 10-minute rule. It's simple. Tell yourself, I'm just going to work on this for 10 minutes. Not I'm going to finish it perfectly. Not I'm going to smash through this whole thing. Just 10 minutes. That lowers the emotional intensity around starting. So it tricks the brain out of fight or flight mode and into a low stakes experiment. And often, once you've got started, momentum tends to take over. The anxiety drops, you realize it's not as bad as you thought, and you'll probably find yourself doing more than 10 minutes. But if you want to stop after 10 minutes, totally fine. But chances are you'll find it easier to keep going. but that's not the point. You give yourself 10 minutes and be real with yourself as well. You can stop after 10 minutes. Give yourself that grace, give yourself that option. Takes away much of the anxiety. The next tool is the 90-second healthy pause check. Okay, so let's say you've started the task and then you've decided to either switch tasks and do something else or bail on the task completely. So before you bail on the task, set a timer for 90 seconds and then ask yourself the following questions. Am I genuinely exhausted? Or do I need to plan more? Or is this other task that I'm about to do more important or urgent? Or is this my nervous system dodging discomfort? Okay, so just check in with yourself. Is your reason for stopping the true reason? Or is it your nervous system dodging discomfort? If it's real fatigue, cool. Schedule proper rest, take a break, leave it until tomorrow. If it's thoughtful planning, great. Map out your next step. If it's fear-based avoidance, or if you're avoiding discomfort, then we can move to the next tool, tool 3. And tool number 3 is to regulate your nervous system. So instead of forcing yourself to just do it, what if you focus first on helping your body feel safer? Now, you can do this before starting a task, or you can do it if you feel yourself bailing in the middle of an important task. And my suggestion is to take 30 seconds to either do a few rounds of controlled breathing, so maybe inhaling for 6 and exhaling for 4, or maybe you shake out your arms and legs to discharge some tension, or maybe you step outside for a few deep breaths of fresh air. So whatever works best for you, do that one, okay? And then as your nervous system becomes more regulated, then your executive functions like planning and focus and motivation come back online. So that feeling of nervous system safety creates the conditions for productivity. All right, now the final quick tool is something called micro stepping. I call it just get started. So Nike says just do it, but honestly, that can feel overwhelming when you've got very important things to do. And if it's really anxiety provoking, let's say this project that you're doing is really anxiety provoking or very high stakes, even telling yourself that you're going to do 10 minutes might feel too stressful and you might start avoiding. So instead, we use just get started. You don't have to complete the whole report. You just have to open the file. You don't have to write the perfect email. You just have to type, "Hi, John." Micro steps shrink the mountain into something climbable. So they help you build momentum without triggering that panic. So you do one micro step, take a breath, and then you do another micro step. And you keep going that way. And then hopefully after a few minutes, you're in the groove, and then you can keep going and keep your breathing going as well whenever you notice. All right, so that's micro steps. So those are some in the moment type tools that are really powerful for getting unstuck quickly. But if you want to change the deeper pattern over time so that taking action starts to feel safer and lighter and less high stakes, you also need some longer term strategies, because procrastination isn't just about what's happening today. It's often built on decades of learned pressure, fear, and survival responses. So I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can start reworking the pattern at its roots. So let's get my favorite tool out of the way early on, self-compassion. I'm going to talk about self-compassion probably every week because it's so important. But every time you catch yourself procrastinating, instead of beating yourself up, try this. Pause, take a breath, and say to yourself, "I'm not lazy, I'm protecting myself. Then celebrate the tiniest steps forward, opening the document, writing the first sentence, making the first call. Momentum builds from these little moments. And each time you treat yourself with kindness instead of criticism, you're teaching your nervous system that effort is safe and not dangerous. So self-compassion really is the foundation for sustainable action. All right. So the so the second long-term strategy is to build nervous system resilience. So when your body feels more regulated, taking action feels less threatening. Okay, so simple daily practices can make a huge difference. A few rounds of deep breathing each day, short grounding meditations, getting outside for sunlight and movement, shaking out tension after stressful tasks, and importantly, allowing yourself proper rest on the days when your 90-second check-in says that you're cooked. So eat well, exercise well, connect with others, focus on sleep. These good habits expand your nervous system's window of tolerance, right? Making it easier to stay with important tasks, even when they feel a little bit edgy and uncomfortable. And then the final long-term strategy is to really get curious about these deeper layers. What's going on under the surface? Where is this feeling of discomfort really coming from? Because sometimes, oftentimes, it's not just about the task itself. It's about the fear that we've got underneath. So fear of being judged, fear of not being good enough, fear of success itself. So let's say you've got an important presentation coming up, okay? And you keep putting off working on it. You're telling yourself that you're too busy, you've got other things to do, or, I'll get to it later. But if you slow down and really look at it, it's probably not about being too busy. It might be about the discomfort. So maybe public speaking stresses you out. Maybe the idea of standing up there, having people looking at you, having people judging you, even if you know your stuff, feels overwhelming. So instead of sitting down to work on that speech, your nervous system goes, nope, that feels dangerous. Let's clean the kitchen instead. It might tell you something different, it won't tell you that it feels dangerous. It'll tell you your kitchen needs to be cleaned, and then you'll be in a better headspace to deal with everything. And that's why procrastination isn't laziness, it's protection. So when you catch yourself in it, pause, gently ask yourself, what's really being protected here? Because when you meet that fear with understanding instead of force, you're no longer fighting yourself. You're working with yourself. And that shift from unconscious avoidance to conscious curiosity is what opens the door to real lasting change. Now remember, I've given you a lot of strategies here. Please don't think you need to use all these strategies at once. Just pick one, try it, see how it feels. Okay? Every small shift makes a difference. And as someone said before, the replay is always there. So just pick one and then you can come back to the replay. You can even go, there's like transcripts in the bottom of these YouTube videos. So you can go through the transcripts and you can read what's going on as well. All right? So what have we done? We have... Thank you, Claire. Appreciate your kind words. And Yorkshire, Jane from Yorkshire. There you go. I spent 4 years in Leeds back in the day in Headingley. So yeah, love that place. Love that place. All right. So you've learned what procrastination really is and where it comes from. You've spotted it in real time. You've responded with tools that help your nervous system feel safer, and you've started building some longer term resilience. Now, the final step is reflection, because reflection is really what locks in the new pattern. When you reflect, even briefly, you help your brain and body encode the experience. Okay. So, it's curiosity. So, curiosity, curiosity, curiosity. That's mindfulness. Okay. Being curious about everything we do. Right. So, when we reflect with curiosity, we help our brain and body encode the experience. We strengthen the link between I took action and I am safe. So here's a simple way to do it. After you've completed a task, so big or small, pause for just 30 seconds. Ask yourself, what helped me move forward today? When did I notice the discomfort and how did I respond? What's one small thing I could try differently next time? Or if it worked perfectly well, celebrate that win. If you want to, you can even write it down. But even a quick mental check-in makes a difference and starts fusing into your nervous system and creating these new neural pathways in your brain. Let me tell you what I do most days. So at the end of each day, I ask myself, what's the single most important project I need to work on tomorrow? What's the one project that will genuinely move my life forward? And then I ask myself, what's the one small task that will help my project move forward? Then tomorrow, I start with that and I resist every other itch to drift off and get distracted until I've begun. Do I blow it sometimes? Absolutely. Let's look at Easter Monday and my rogue chatbot. But later, when I reflected, and this is why reflection is so important, I realized I'd been stressed out recently. I had a few too many big projects on my plate. And when we're stressed, it makes it much harder to spot procrastination when it's happening, right? The more stressed we are, the more in autopilot we are, the less mindfulness we have, the less curiosity we have, the more difficult it is for us to catch ourselves in the moment. Or if we're stressed, it makes everything feel urgent. So it's really hard to discern what your most important task is because everything feels important. Clearing my inbox out feels important. So that's why it's great to decide what your plan is the day before at a time when you're not feeling stressed and urgent. So on that Easter Monday, I wasn't planning on doing it on the Easter Monday. It was like, oh, I've got a bonus day. I've got a free bonus day. Let me just do this thing that I've been wanting to do for a while. So I didn't have my plan ready. So I forgive myself for creating that chatbot. That's fine. I didn't have my steps in place. So I'll learn for next time, okay? Even on the occasional day off that I will have and suddenly my calendar's free, start with a plan. So that's something new. So I'm always constantly learning and constantly updating my toolkit now that I have this level of awareness. So after my reflection, I've decided to give myself as well more breathing space. So instead of running, one of the conclusions that I came to after that day was instead of running these sessions every week, I've decided to do them every other week for a while until my big projects are over. So a little more space to keep me balanced. And that lets me show up here at my best. Okay. And that's why reflection matters. It isn't about judging yourself. It's about staying connected to yourself, even when the day goes sideways. So bit by bit, step by step, you're not just beating procrastination, you're building a life where taking action feels lighter, safer, and more aligned with who you really are. All right. Now, before we finish, let's just go over what we talked about today. So first, we learned that procrastination isn't laziness. It's a nervous system flight response. It's our body trying to protect us from emotional risk. Second, we learned how to spot procrastination in real time. And I suggested that when you caught it, you ask yourself, am I moving forward towards what matters, or am I moving away from discomfort? Next, we talked about sitting with it, pausing, naming the feeling, breathing with it, and deciding, is this a healthy pause or is it fear-based avoidance? Then we covered some tools that you can use, like the 10-minute rule, the 90-second healthy pause check-in. Probably needs a better name for that. It's a bit of a mouthful. 90-second check-in, whatever. Regulating your nervous system before you initiate a new task or a new project, and then just getting started. And of course, my favorite, bringing in self-compassion all the way. And finally, we talked about the importance of reflecting. What went well? What didn't? Are you trying to take on too much? And if you notice that you're carrying too much, like I noticed recently, give yourself a bit more breathing room so that you can show up at your best. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here, for showing up. And, remember, we're not broken, we're not lazy, we're just human with a nervous system that's doing its best to keep us safe in the only way it knows how to. And the more we work with ourselves, the more we work with our nervous systems, training our nervous systems instead of working against ourselves, the easier it gets to take those small, brave steps forward. And please remember to honestly go and check out my digital Chibs chatbot. Go to chibs.co or chibsmeditations.com. Ask him some complicated questions. Have some fun with him and see if you can break his spirit as well. And let me know in the comments of any of my videos. Let me know if you managed to break him or if he actually helps. So thanks again for spending this time with me. Let me just have a look at the chat before we go. And there's a few chats in. I'm going to need to do some scrolling back. Yeah, Charlene says micro stepping works really well with high stress tasks. Yeah, take it 1 minute, 1 hour, one step at a time. You see it's safe and able to not spiral. Good stuff there. All right. Yeah, well done, Charlene. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, well, I'm glad that it's been helpful to so many of you. Yeah, thank you. uh, Araxi is the warrior, the dreamer, and the perfectionist. Sounds very poetic, doesn't it? So there you go. So let's be kind to our inner protectors. See how beautiful do they sound? The dreamer and perfectionist. I like that. Yeah. So I've got a bit of a dreamer and a perfectionist and a warrior. I've got them all. I've got a lot of people in my head. Yeah. Yeah. Again, a whole other episode. But yeah, if anyone's interested in finding out more about the people that are living in their head, check out Internal Family Systems and just have a look at all these wonderful little people that are inside our heads trying to protect us. And yes, self-compassion all the way, Kate. And yeah, you're very welcome, everyone. And to KH, yes, you can go back and watch from the beginning. So it'll be on YouTube afterwards. You can rewind it now, probably. You can go and scroll back and watch. But yeah, it's always going to be there on YouTube, and you can watch it at your leisure. You can take notes. You can also join my course. So I'm going to be doing a course based on all these things that we're talking about, and then you'll get a chance to basically interact with me and interact with everyone else. And we're going to have like little Q&As and discussions and sharing and reflections. So I'm really looking forward to that. So please, I've had a few of you email me. So you are at the top of the list once it all gets ready. And that is one of those big projects that I was telling you about that is kind of occupying my time. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. And yeah, if you are interested in joining the course, let me know. Send me an email. Cool. All right. So Shamel Shamel feels regulated and ready to commit to 10 minutes of really hard stuff. There we go. That's perfect. All right. So yeah, try one of those tools. Let me know how it goes in the comments. Thanks again for spending all this time with me. I appreciate you all. I'm Chibzo Karake, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.